Can I get a raise?
If there is, that's fine. Yeah, I'll check. Yeah.
Hi, Blue.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I am super.
Okay. Behind the camera is TK. I'm going to be asking Blue some questions. So the first question is, what's the most common misconception people have about Blink? Whether they overestimate or underestimate the company, and how does it affect how you operate or lead?
I think the biggest one would be people thinking that we have a lot of play and a little work. I think that's one of the biggest ones. And how it affects how I lead, I think it's both in a positive and somewhat negative, in the sense that positive, because I do appreciate the fact that people know that it's also a creative fun space, which for me is good. The negative, well, in a way it makes me question sometimes when I see my team going overboard with the fun aspect. I'm like, is this really too much? But then I get back to it and realize, or go back to how much work we're actually putting out. And you'll be able to see that there is certainly a balance. So it used to affect me in a negative way, but right now I think it's more or less in a positive sense. So.
Okay, so our second question is, in your view, what separates a good team member from a core team member?
A good team member is a person who is able to follow through, to follow and be proactive in a sense. So follow the vision, follow the project, follow the objectives, follow the goals. A core team member is able to lead. So a good leader would pretty much then be a leader of people who are also good team members. In order for you to get to that core bit, you need to be the one who's setting the objectives, the goals, and lead the team.
Our third question is, what bold decision or move did you make that changed the company's entire direction?
I think it was which was very tough actually, changing from a founder hat to a CEO hat. The beginning of Blink had me as the founder, because then I had to also drive a lot of my dream and my ambition and the goal, the end goal. And also being able to drive the same dream and sell the same dream to the employees of Blink and other members of Blink. But I had to then transition from founder to CEO. So from founder, I then wore the CEO hat. And the CEO hat for me was more or less about the leadership. And that's what the team needed. It went from the visionary to the leader. And I think that changed the way that the business operates, because it was more or less of leading the team now towards the vision, which was more of the future.
Interesting. If you had to start over today with what you know now, what would you do different? Give us 3 things.
I think one, I would register the company a lot earlier. Only reason because that also disadvantages people or organizations when doing tender processes and all that. People don't look at how much work or experience you have, but they look at when did your company get registered, which obviously from an auditing point or from other companies, I understand where it comes from. But yeah, I think just that would be the only thing. I think the other bits in terms of what I would do different right now wouldn't matter because of the lessons that have actually come. And I think if we changed anything, we then wouldn't be the company that we are today. So I think the lessons have actually made us grow. So the only one thing I would change is just registering to audit earlier.
Only given us one thing.
Yes. The other 2, I think it would be being more daring from our side, being more aggressive even for what we do. The third would be spending a lot of time working on projects together, same way we work with passion projects. So outside, what we do with our clients and potential clients is working together a whole lot more through passion projects, because that for me is practice into us perfecting again the art of what we do for our clients. There are 3.
Yeah. What's one piece of advice you wish every upcoming CEO or founder understood before launching a company?
It would be to monitor your numbers very close, because your numbers actually tell a story. There's a reason why investors, partners, banks want your audited financials, because then your audited financials outside what your brand looks like, outside what people say, your numbers being audited with a stamp verify that your business is legit. Verify that your business is what you actually say it is. So pay a lot of attention to your numbers and follow the story, because there's a big story about your company there.
So we're going to move to, should I call it KPIs?
A review.
A review.
Yeah, this is great. A review.
Yeah. Last week I was CEO of the week, and I have a few questions to ask regarding my performance last week. How would you describe my overall approach and attitude during the CEO of the week program?
Overall approach and attitude, I think, one, you had a lot of energy that was being put towards you being able to do stuff. So I'd say like more of a can-do spirit. Whatever we were doing, there was interest, there was enthusiasm, and yeah, there was no pushback. If so, we're doing this, oh, okay, fine, how are we getting it done? Or this time we're shooting from this time to this time, oh, okay, but there was more a can-do spirit, there was more enthusiasm, more proactivity, and more positive energy.
Heavy on the positive energy.
Positive vibes.
2 strengths I should continue to nurture.
2 strengths you should continue to nurture. One, I would say being inquisitive. I always look at it as a strength because it also allows people to ask questions, which also then allows people to learn. So that one, I think, don't hold back from wanting to know. Yeah, I think it is a good trait that you have. So just keep on nurturing it. Even if at times where you feel it's a dumb question, just ask. Or if not, ask Google, ask ChatGPT, and you'll be fine.
You've given me one.
2, the second one, I would say the creativity aspect. And I feel like with creativity, with almost everyone, because creativity is creating, it's creation, right? You win some and you also lose some. It's like business. So when you have those bursts or those moments of creativity, don't stop creating. Don't get disadvantaged or be down because something has not worked. Because sometimes you put in all the effort and it won't work. Sometimes you put in little effort and then something blows up. So there is no algorithm per se or a formula for having big ideas that gets you down to like all the time meeting the goals. But just continue to tap into that element and also grow it, because also the best way of you learning is through practice. So just keep practicing.
The next question is 3 areas I should grow in.
One, I think with you there's an interest in the digital space, but one area that I feel is key is 3 areas, right? One would be around the tech side. So there's a digital side, yes, but then the digital is always connected to the tech. It doesn't mean then start fixing people's laptops, become IT. No, but just understand how the two work, because then there's also a link there. There's a reason why it's attached to the technological aspect. So don't become a nerd at it, but just understand what the foundation of digital is, because I think you'll be able to know a whole lot more even with it. 2, I would say understanding also then the business side. There's a lot of people refer to as business language of the return on investment, which is the money side, the return on objectives. I feel like in your space, even outside the Blink side, when it comes to your acting career, it's about numbers, but it's not the numbers that the accounting people see. It's the numbers that the marketing or even from the sales front see when it comes to commercial. When it comes to, let's say, your views, your reach, your engagements, your objectives. So you need to understand the business side of return on objectives, so that whenever you're doing something, if it's not attached to investment put in, you're able to see then, did you meet the mark on objectives? What is the return of your objectives? 3rd would be, I think this speaks to more of just general learnings practice. So see, as mentioned in the last question, where you're looking at your acting part, your acting career, and you're coming into Blink, looking at what you do here, you need to also get into practicing more. I'd say that the Beatles are one of the most famous bands because they practice the most. So whatever you're doing, in whatever area, just practice, apply yourself, keep on applying yourself, and learn, which is one of the part of the first question, and apply. Keep on just applying. Not for jobs, for in what you do, like, just practice. Yeah.
If you had to assign me a mission statement based on what you've observed this week, what would it be?
I would say it would be something along the lines of working positively, delivering with aggression in order to create. In order to create.
What strengths stood out to you the most in my time shadowing you? This can be leadership potential, communication, initiative, problem solving.
I think problem solving actually. And I think it was because this was also the time of the Red Bull Avengers Passion Project that we're doing. So a lot of other things that we're doing in the back end that people may not have seen from the digital front. And with it came its own issues, but there were solutions that were coming to those problems. So I would definitely say the problem solving part. Even when we're looking at that speaking engagement of the presentation, say, okay, we're doing this, how do we then structure it, how do we put it? I didn't give you much, but the expectations were met. So meaning you solved the problem that was there.
Something random I can go with.
I think I probably mentioned to you before, but more on getting out of your comfort zone. Yeah, just when you find yourself in comfort, remind yourself also that you're only there for a short time, because then you have to then grow into your next chapter. But sometimes also the decision of whether you're growing or not is also up to the person who's going to go through it. So I think it would be then decide to grow a lot more often than you do. It's not comfortable, but
Last question. Can I get a raise?
I can ask the next CEO next week. Yeah, if you give me the raise, that's fine.
Thank you very much for these questions. Until I don't think next time, but yeah. Bye guys.